In this video, we're going to show you to install the motor mount on your Toyota Camry located on the front side of your engine. With the vehicle raised, you want to go ahead and remove this front center splash guard here. On our particular model, there are a couple plastic trim buttons here. We want to pop these out using our trim tool. Once you have those two out, remove the series of 10mm bolts around the perimeter. Ours has a couple broken ones, but remove the ones that are still there. On the front side of our cradle here, we have a single 14mm bolt that goes up and into that motor mount. Loosen and remove that. Once you have this bolt out, let's go up top and remove the bracket. On the top side here, we have four 14mm bolts attaching the bracket to the block, so we want to go ahead and loosen those there. But we're going to start by loosening this 14mm bolt, this horizontal bolt for this bracket here to the exhaust manifold. We're going to use our shallow socket and extension with our ratchet. Now on the upper portion here, there should be another 14mm. This was broken off when we got our vehicle, but all you want to do is loosen this one here. That way there, when we remove this lower bolt, we can just pivot this out of the way. Now before we undo this last bolt here, I am going to throw a jack underneath the vehicle. So let's go ahead and do that just to go ahead and support this motor from dropping down. Now we have a block of wood on our jack. And we're going to go over to the oil pan area and just gently support that. We're not raising the vehicle and we're not crushing that oil pan. We just want to support that. Loosen the last bolt. Now in the center section here, we have the bracket with the bolt going into the top of the mount. Let's go ahead, loosen and remove that. We're going to use a 17mm socket to go ahead and loosen this. Now on the top side, we have two 14mm bolts, one on each side of the mount. Using your swivel head and extension, go ahead, loosen and remove those. The bolt on the right-hand side on our particular vehicle has a nut, and the nut is spinning, so we're going to try and secure that and keep that from spinning. I'm going to remove our rubber cover here. Set that aside. Let's lower this down. I'm going to reverse our procedure. Now that we have both of our two upward bolts installed, I'm going to reach underneath and get the forward bolt started. Now that we have all three of our bolts started here, we're going to leave these loose and we're going to go ahead and install our bracket onto the motor and get everything secured up here, and then we'll tighten down the mount side. Don't forget to install the cover. Now, as we're going to install our bracket here, we want to make sure that our mount itself lines up with the pin. We have that pin right here on the top. That needs to line up on the mount. Now, by the time we line this up here, we can't get our brackets to line up. So we're going to use our jack underneath, raise up that motor a little bit more. Let's go ahead and snug these down. Now I can use a small mirror here to go and look at that pin location to where that bracket is. And we're pretty much lined up right there. If you're not lined up, simply grab that mount, move that around until that pin lines up. Then we can go ahead and lower that jack. The mount is on the bracket, lined up perfect. Install our upper bolt. Let's tighten the two lower bolts. Torque down the 4 bolts here for the bracket to the engine to 48 foot-pounds. We're going to torque down our 3 bolts for our motor mount to the cradle to 48 foot-pounds. Go ahead and torque down the center bolt here to 42 foot-pounds. Going to install your bracket here. Probably just had it swinging on the stud there. We want to go ahead and get our bolt onto the bracket. Now these here we can simply hand tighten. You want to make sure that these are good and tight. Now if you have the nut for this stud right here, go ahead and tighten that down as well. Go ahead and remove the jack from underneath the vehicle. Go ahead and tighten down the lower bolt. Torque the lower bolt to 48 foot-pounds. Install a splash shield. Before we tighten those down, let's get our plastic push pins lined up. Secure those. And now we can go ahead and tighten down the bolts. Just want to make sure these are good and snug. At that point there, you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.